Hello there everyone, my name is Nathan Birch and today we're going to be talking about working with REST. So to do today, I'm going to do it a little bit differently than I've done with previous videos. We're just going to start off looking at this and then we're going to actually pull up some code that was from the Academine course that we're in for our textbook. Okay, the reading material goes to this working with REST APIs, the practical application section of our reading. For our team activity, you're working on your projects, and for your proof assignment, you get to do some work with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm really excited for you guys. Now, with that said, I just downloaded this, the O2 sending post requests, and we're just going to look at this. So I'm going to open up a new window in VS Code, nice and fresh here. And let me go to my downloads, and I just unzipped this, and I'm just going to drag this over here to open this up. And we're going to grab this node project, and we are just going to run it. Okay, so let me pull up this app.js file, and we can see what all is going on. Okay, we can see which HTTP requests we're going to allow, and we have routes and controllers. If I look at the feed.js in the controllers, we have a create post function, just working with JSON to say whether it worked or not, and then we have routes. Okay, so we have posts and post. One for get to retrieve our posts, and one to actually add a new post. Okay, and these will go to our controller. One will call the get posts function to retrieve all of them, and then we have our create post, which will be able to create a new one. All right, so to run this thing, I'm just going to say terminal, new terminal, and first things first, I'm going to run npm install. All right, I don't have express or body parser or anything in this directory. I could look in the package.json to see what all we need here, and that looks like that's it. So currently my computer is downloading these two dependencies into this directory. We'll see a node modules folder pop up right about now. And then after this, we'll just go ahead and run npm start, which will do the exact same thing as if I just typed in nodemon app.js. All right, so I had the video paused for probably like 10 seconds. It finished. And now we're just going to say npm start. And I think it said it was going to run on 8080. Yeah, so it was going to run on 8080. So let me go ahead and open up my browser here. Okay, and here's what we get. Localhost 8080. Now this is good. It means that we're at least running. Okay. We need to look at the routes to see why that didn't work. So I'm going to go to feed.js. Well, let's start in our app.js just to make sure there aren't any routes here. And it doesn't look like there are. Okay, but this is important because I'll have to put this feed into my URL because it's saying that's the URL that we're going to use. And then we're going to go into our feed.js, and then we'll have feed/posts and feed/post. So let's try this. So I'm going to say /feed/posts, and that should run a get, and it's had title, first post, content. This is the first post. Let's see where that's coming from. So we just hit this URL, and so we're going to go to the feed controller and look at get posts, and here's that JSON. Okay, first post. This is the first post. Okay, now let's go ahead and let's try to add to this. All right. Let's just run it and let's see what happens. So I'm going to come over here and we will say post and let's see what happens. So notice this path is defined, okay, but it's not working because we didn't supply any data for it, okay. So if we look back at our routes, we have post, and then after we hit that URL, it'll go to the create post in our controller. And we can see this is where it'll hit, but we didn't supply it with any data. Okay. All right, so two things that I could test here. One, I could debug this and put a breakpoint in. If I wanted to do this, let me just put a breakpoint right here. And I'm going to come over here. Oh, not there. I'm going to click on debug, and I'm going to say create launch.json file, and we're going to say Node.js preview. And then I want to give it, I don't want to skip any files, but the program that I want to run is is not feed.js. I want to give it our app.js. So I'm just going to come back here and I'll say workspace folder app.js. That should work for us. So to do this, I'm going to have to stop this because they're both going to try to run on the same port. And if it's already being used up, I won't be able to debug it. Let's see if this works. So when I click here, we have launch program. That's the name of this. And I'm just going to hit our run button. And hopefully we can get this thing running. Okay, while that's working, I also want to be able to test the service. Even if I debug this, all we're really going to see is that this content is empty. Okay, it's not like with a get where I can just put something into a URL. Okay, I can't put post parameters here. I could put get parameters here, but I can't do post ones. So what we're going to do is we're going to download Postman. Okay, you may have already used this before. There are a bunch of these, but I'm just going to download this real quick, and I'll say download the app, Windows 64-bit. I'll give that a sec, and let's come back over here to our debugger and see if that's working. We didn't console log anything, but I think it's running. So let's go ahead and test this. If it is working, then I will be able to hit localhost 8080. So I'll say localhost 8080. Okay, so that's good. I stopped the other server. Okay, so I'll say feed. What was it? Feed/post. Oh man. Oh, posts. That's what it was. The get was the posts. There we go. Okay, so that's working. So let's put a breakpoint right here. And let's see if we hit that. So I'm just going to hit refresh right here. And look, we hit our breakpoint. Okay, I can see our request object, our response object, and so our debugger is working. I'll say F5 to let that go. And then create post, again, that should get hit once from our routes. We say, oh, we have to have a post request. So when I type in post up in here, I just said post, this is going to be a get request, which is why that breakpoint wasn't hit. All right, but we are debugging, and with that breakpoint there, this should stop once we test this in Postman. So I'm going to let that finish downloading, and then we will run this. Oh, okay, good. So downloaded. Let's go ahead and install it. All right, it looks like it just installed, so, and it opened itself up. And so now I'm here. I want to just make a simple request. Okay, so I've done some other requests here. It looks like that was saved somewhere on my computer. But I'm just going to open up a new request here, and I'm going to do a post. And then my URL, I can just pull from the browser. Okay, it's this guy right here. So I'm just going to copy that. Okay, it went ahead and saw that it was using HTTP instead of HTTPS. Okay, so I have my URL, and now I want to actually send data in the body. Okay, and so I'll go ahead and click on body. And then in here, I'm just going to do raw, and text is, well, I'll do JSON. Okay, so in here, I'm just going to make a little JSON object. We said that the data that we were expecting was going to be a title and content. Okay, so wow, I'm just going to copy this and we'll just modify this. That'll make our JSON nice and pretty for us without taking too much time. Okay, so I'll just say second post. Whoops. Second post, and this is another awesome post. Okay, and let's send it. Let's see what happens. Oops, that was my bad. We got to put these into quotations. We'll do double quotes across the board. Content. Okay, now let's try that. Let's go ahead and send it. Cannot post, feed posts. It might be, oh, look at that. Unexpected text T. Let's go back to our routes. So it just wants singular, post. So let's try that again, and I'll say post. We actually have a route for this. I'll hit send, and look at that, it hit our breakpoint. Let's come over here. Okay, let's check the rec.body, and there's our content. Oh, this is fantastic. Okay, this is great. All right, I'm gonna hit F5, and let's just see what happens. Let's go back over to Postman, and you can see we have this nice message, post created successfully. We have the data that was here, an ID that was made, and all of this came right from here. Okay, we return this JSON with a message and an ID with the title and content there, and that's what it was. Okay, now that's not going to change this, okay, because this is kind of just hard-coded. We could double check. Let's come over here, and yeah, our get has not changed. Let me just hit F5 on that. Okay, that hasn't changed, but our post did work. Okay, so I hope that this video has been helpful, seeing just a little bit of work with Postman, how to test a post request. We couldn't do this in the browser, and how to set this up. So hopefully it was helpful, and I hope you guys have a great week.